before we get into the details of cloud, it's better to understand what is meant by the on-premises applications or the server or whatever it is versus the cloud one. So, I mean, about a decade back, there's no cloud. It was all been on-premises. So this could be easily understood through an example or analogy. So everyone knows what is a kitchen and what is a restaurant. In case of a kitchen, which is in home, and of course restaurant will have a kitchen, but you don't really worry about that. So whereas in a home kitchen, you own all of them. You own the microwave oven, you own the electric gas appliance, you own the cup, saucer, all the vessels, you own it. You pay for the electricity, you pay for the groceries. Of course, if you're going to employ a cook, then in that case you have to pay them maybe the salary as well. Whereas in case of restaurant, even though they may charge it for the electricity bill, the rents, those are overhead, but you are not bothered about that, how they pay it, but you are only particular about the food which is being ordered, or the dish which you order, and you consume the food alone. You are not bothered about anything. You leave out the plates. You are not bothered about in which kitchen they make. You are not bothered about the vessels they use or the grocery they procure. You're not bothered. You're not bothered about the salary. You're particular only in the consuming the food, or you take away and consume it at home. This is exactly what happens in the on-premises as well as in cloud. In cloud, only for the offerings the service provider provides, you pay for that, pay as you go, whether it is a solution or an application or a server, whatever the service they provide, you only pay for that service. You are not bothered about you don't procure the application license, and you don't make an install in your local server. You don't do that. All that is only with if it is a on-premises one, which is similar to your kitchen, then you perform the software installation. So whenever someone talks about cloud or on-premises, just think about how a home-based kitchen, what you have, and what you do in a restaurant. And ideally in financial term, this is just an operating expenses. I mean, operating expenses, you just as and when required, you pay for it. This could be on a daily basis, whatever it is. So it is the operational expenses, whereas the kitchen is supposed to be a capital expenses. So you need to before even kitchen comes into your home, you need to procure, either you rent the home or you buy your house and then furnish the kitchen. You have the necessary appliances in place to cook the food. So all those are capital expenditures. You need to have appropriate money to procure them, to buy them, whereas even with few dollars or few currencies, you can always eat out in a restaurant. So that's what it says. On premises, the company invests all hardware, software application, while in cloud application, it is more of pay and use. So this is a subscription model, whereas here it is you got to pay it upfront in case of on-premises. So keep this in mind, and that way understanding cloud becomes easier. Thank you. Now that you have an understanding of what is an on-premises application or on-premises server versus what is really meant by cloud, we saw the comparison between the restaurant and a home-based kitchen. So in case of a home-based kitchen, you own everything, whereas in a restaurant, you consume you pay for the food you consume. So with that understanding, let's look at cloud. So the cloud definition as per the National Institute of Standards and Technology, cloud computing is a model for enabling convenient on-demand network access to shared pool of configurable computing resource. It could be servers, network servers, storage, application, or services that could be rapidly provisioned in the sense based on the need. You can provision it, and if you don't require it, you release it, and when you provision it, you pay for it, and if you release it, you don't pay for it, with a minimal management effort or a service provider interaction. So it is all self-service, whether it is Google, it's Amazon's, Oracle, it's all self-service. A resource or a consultant from your end can provision it in no time. Maybe it may take, depending upon the requirement, it can take, time varies. Otherwise, the interaction with the service provider is very minimal during any of the stages, like provisioning or maintenance is of course taken care by them. So that's the definition of cloud computing. And essential characters, on demand, these are the essential characters, and again this is given by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, US. 5 essential service: on demand, self-service, because you provision it. I mean, the consultant from your company can provision it. Resource pooling, whenever you want the resource, you can pool the resource, and again rapid, you can increase the server capacity. You can server capacity in the sense you can add CPU, you can add the memory, and if you don't want, you can release it. How to add resource, when to add resource, because during the month end you might need higher capacity CPU power. So at that point of time, you can even programmatically do that. Maybe during month end, quarter close, or year end, you can provision the pooling technique so that more CPU are allocated, and then it can get released automatically. Or you can set a threshold in the sense, if any specific job is going to consume so much of CPU, maybe 50% or 60%, then you can trigger allocation of CPU. And all these are automatically measured. Number of CPUs, based on that they might charge you. And all this happens through the network, broadband network, it happens. So that is what is the essentials. And the next one, the service model is important. Software as a service. Software as a service is the application, like your ERP application, like Oracle has it's called, earlier it was called the Fusion application, or any, even these days they provide even eBusiness on the cloud, that is Oracle eBusiness Suite on the cloud. So those are the ERP application, can be without getting into the license. You can use it as a service. All the ERP product can be used as service, be it SAP or ERP, be it SAP or Oracle, you can use it. This service model is offered, software as a service. About a decade back, this was not available at all. You got to procure the license, you need to make installs on the local machine, you need to procure the appropriate servers for installation. So all this would take time and effort to have the installation done on the appropriate servers before you can start even doing the implementation. So these days you don't need to bother about that, because those are already done. All that is required is the number of users, which are the modules you wish to use. So that's a software as a service. Earlier, we'll see what is a platform as a service. Infrastructure is of course the servers, the memory unit and all. These two, the last two, that is platform as a service and infra as a service, is now a few years back this was segregated, this was separate, and these days infrastructure as a service and platform as a service is offered as a common solution, be it Azure, be it Google, or be it Oracle. The software as a service, that is a ERP application, is still separate, or it could be any of the business intelligence solutions. So those are software as a service. And cloud offerings, yeah, private cloud, public cloud, community cloud, and hybrid cloud. So this is an example, infrastructure as a service. So IT professional can use, because it is basically, you'll be provided with a virtual machine. You can provision the virtual machine. So it's just like any of the Linux based box, or it could be Windows based box, on which, yes, you need to install the, if you want, you can install your own, develop the application, or if you want, you can even install the third-party application and use it. So definitely it requires the IT professional help in doing that. This is again, this is infrastructure and platform is something like you need to have IT professional and developer in place. Whereas in case of software as a service, it is all already installed. So you can, as a business user, you can start using it. So that is the software as a service. So these three are important. As I said, now, I mean, infrastructure as a service and platform as a service is offered as just one service offering. Software as a service, basically to ERP or business application, is offered separately. Service model we already discussed. Hosted on-demand service, Salesforce, Oracle, NetSuite, SAP is missing. You can also include SAP there. Application generally delivered as a service to end user through web browser. Technical challenge include support, multi-tenancy, integration, security. I mean, it's a kind of an evolving. Now, I think the last couple of years, the security integrations is much better compared to a few years back. So you can even perform integration between some of the on-premises application with the cloud application also. Integration these days is much smoother compared to about 3-4 years back. Usability, of course, customization is highly difficult in case of a cloud application, whereas it is much more easier with on-premises. Platform as a service earlier platform as a service is that with a tool you develop the application, and as I said, now platform as a service and infrastructure as a service is combined together by all the vendors and they are offered as such. So the leaders are of course Oracle, Azure, Google, and of course Amazon as well. Amazon was the leaders, or we would call it pioneers, because they started, they had the first mover advantage way back in around 2010 or 11 when they introduced the concept of using cloud. The rest of them followed it slowly. Then came Azure. Google started offering it because Google was just they just had the browser alone, and then they came up with the GCP, Google Cloud Platform, and Microsoft came up with Azure. Oracle came out with it's only Oracle has SaaS and infrastructure as a cloud infrastructure as well. Of course, now Azure also have. Google doesn't have much of software as a service, and of course Amazon doesn't have much as to offer as a software as a service. So that's in a nutshell about the cloud. And of course you will see the different deployment model. Private cloud controlled by a private data center. Maybe if you're a huge company, you can ask for your own cloud data center. In that case, it is called a private cloud. When multiple organizations share a server in a kind of a virtual mode, then it is called a public mode. Community cloud, related organization in a specific industry use, then they used a community cloud. And hybrid cloud, both private and public cloud, then it is called the hybrid cloud. Or even there is one more deployment model is called the coexistence, where you can use the cloud and still that application can can interact with the on-premises application. So in that case, it is called the coexistence. So on-premises versus cloud, longer implementation, faster implementation, customization is possible. Customization is difficult in case of cloud. Upgrade involves cost because upgrade is included. As we discussed, capital expenses is going to be involved in on-premises. There's no capital expenses. It's only the operating expenses. It involves both capital as well as operating cost. Highly secured, may be compromised, but these days they have made it robust. Security as well. Hardware cost, no hardware cost. Scaling up down is challenging. In case of on-premises, you need to plan out, you need to procure them. It's a long drawn process. Whereas in case of cloud, you can do it on the go. If you want to have add the more CPUs to your virtual machine in no time, you can do that. So that's the differences as far as the cloud and on-premises as well. So I hope you now have a good understanding of the cloud. What is even more interesting is that most of them offer free tier or for certain period of time, like for example like Azure, or Google Cloud GCP is provided 3 months. Google GCP, they provide 3 months free usage. Azure provides it for 1 month. And interestingly, Oracle, they have free tier itself. So if you want to learn something on creating virtual machine, or you want to learn the SQLs, or you want to provision the database, you provision the database and then you want to learn SQL, then you can do it at free of cost by provisioning, by requesting access to the Oracle cloud infrastructure, and then provision the database and then start learning SQL. If you wish so, you can do that, and it is offered as a free tier. Always free tier is offered by Oracle, so you can take your time and learn how to provision a virtual machine, how to provision a database, and pick up skills on SQL. So that's about the cloud technology. And as I said, adaptability is, all the hype, everything has died down, and now it is at the stabilization phase as far as cloud is concerned. Still, there are a lot of opportunities around cloud. Technologists, or even if you are a management consultant, if you want to get into the IT related career, then at this point of time, cloud is the best one. Thank you. Stay tuned. Let's now look at virtualization in cloud computing, and this is quite important. So what is virtualization? Virtualization is creation of virtual servers, infrastructure, devices, and computing resources. Virtual in the sense, you might feel that there is a physical presence of that server, because you're going to connect to that device through the secure shell called as PuTTY. That's a kind of a tool. You connect to the server, so you might feel there is a physical server, but it is a virtual one, because on that same server you might have multiple instances, virtual instances. And if you look at it, all machines will have an IP address. The internet protocol IP address will be there, and you will still have that IP address provided in case of the virtual instance as well. So you'll be the IP address is something like an address to the machine. You'll be still provided with the IP address, and the first stage is you need to use that IP address to connect to that machine. Apart from other security aspect, you still need to, for the security, you still need to have a security key generated, public and private key, which needs to match, and then the connection gets established. So it will still be a kind of a physical server, but for you it's a kind of a virtual server, because you will not know where is that located. The location is totally will not be known to you, so you will still have, you can access that instance. So this is just like as I said, on the same machine you might have different multiple instances. One might be, you might have your own instance, a different person can have one instance on the same machine. This is something like you will have a hard disk on the computer, but you just partition and name it as 2-3 separate drives. So something similar to that you have in the virtual instance as well. So in this course, as far as we are concerned, we are going to use, there are multiple virtualization, like the application virtualization and so on and so forth. On this case, we are going to use machine virtualization, or machine instance creation, Oracle Linux. So hardware virtualization in cloud computing is a flexible and uses virtual machine rather than a physical machine. So this is a kind of a traditional model on which, like your laptop, you might have an operating system. On the operating system you have an application. In case of the virtualization, you have a virtualization layer, you have a physical server, then you have a virtualization layer, and then you have on the same server you might have different operating system, and then this might be accessed by user 1, this might be by user 2, this might be for the user 3, so on and so forth. So each one will have a specific IP address. So IP address is for pointing to that particular instance. So the IP address will differ for the external world. So the point I'm trying to convey is that we'll be using the Oracle Linux. You need to, as we progress, you'll understand, you can have to create a compute instance using the Oracle Cloud Access, and that is where we can further build our applications. So that's about it. Again, before we wind up, the benefits, whereas as far as the physical machines are concerned, you own it, and so you have to maintain it for all the challenges. Whereas in the case of a virtual instance, it is taken care by the vendor. So you can anytime drop it, you recreate it, some issues happen, that is taken care by the vendor. Any failures at the instance or at the machine, physical machine, that is taken care by the vendor. Economical too. So you want more memory, block memory, you can add that, but again that could be you're okay for incurring cost, then yes, you can add the appropriate block storage. So in case of free tier, yes, they have a certain configuration which is available as free. You can drop and recreate. This is important. Like see, some of the applications, if it doesn't work, and it's so natural, like in some machines some application will work, and because of the server, the configuration setup in that particular machine, it might not work when the same application runs. So sometimes you have a challenge. One person says it works in my machine, another person says it doesn't work in another machine. So if you are physically owning a particular machine, it is difficult to just just to discard that physical machine is highly impossible, because you are incurring cost. But think of a situation wherein it is free. Then naturally you'll throw that particular machine and then procure a new machine and start building it. That is what happens with the free tier as well. Oracle free tier. Some problem, instead of troubleshooting, particularly from a learning perspective, instead of troubleshooting it, just drop the instance and recreate the instance and start working on it. These days, it's not difficult to learn about cloud, particularly the infrastructure as a service part. So if you look at it, there are two options. One is software as a service, called as SaaS. The other one is infrastructure as a service. Software as a service, all the enterprise resource application, those are called software as a service. So in case of the software, the software as a service, there could be two different streams in career. One is the functional stream, the other one is the technical stream. So functional stream, particularly if it is an ERP one, then it is related to understand how it needs to function as a business, because you'll have the supply chain part, the financial part. So those are the domain knowledge. If you have a domain functional or business knowledge, you can get into that stream. So that is the functional stream. Or even in the software as service part, there could be technical consultant are required. That is towards the data migration activity, how to get from the data from the legacy system into the cloud. So how do you perform the data migration activity? So there could be, you need to have technical knowledge. So one could be on the data migration activity, customization as per the service provider. If there are any this part, the customization part, when you get into the cloud, is very minimal compared to the on-premises. So customization may be allowed by certain service provider, and again that is very less compared to the on-premises ERP, because in on-premises you control the entire infrastructure, the entire software. So it is much more easier in case of the on-premises. Whereas in cloud it is very less, but nevertheless it all depends on the service provider, and use the service provider tools only. You cannot use some of the third-party tools. And this is as far as the software as a service is concerned. You can have different streams. Software as a service. Infrastructure is more technical, where you can have virtual machines built. Or using the virtual machines, on the virtual machine you can then install various tools. So to be kind of an expert in this cloud service then you need to have Linux commands, scripting, Python, Java scripting. These are of course SQL or NoSQL. SQL is for particularly this is relational database, and relational database mainly like the Oracle Cloud or Azure Cloud. Oracle will use the Oracle database, whereas Azure, Microsoft will have the Microsoft SQL Server. NoSQL is particularly for NoSQL is particularly important for big data. But what is important is almost all the service provider, be it Google, that is Google is called GCP, and whether it is Azure, whether it is Oracle, where it is called the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or whether it is Amazon, which is called as AWS. So all of them provide a free account for certain point of time. Maybe if you say that it's for 1 month, it's 3 months, and Oracle provides always free tier. So I would highly recommend, if you have knowledge on these tools, that is command line command of Linux, Python, Java scripting, or if you're good in SQL, try out, get a free account, and then probably you can explore it. You can explore building your own virtual machine. Then you can install different tools in the virtual machine. So you can take free account with Oracle. Oracle always, interestingly, Oracle that is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure provides always free tier. So with that you can have 2 virtual machines. You can create 2 virtual machines. Even you can host website itself with that in that virtual machines, always free tier with Oracle. So that's also possible. So if you're knowledgeable on these tools, then you can go for a free account with the top service providers of cloud, either Oracle or Google or Azure or Microsoft, and much more easy to learn. Creating, there could be some self-learning is required. Even you can take up certification as well, so that you can stand apart from the rest of the consultants. So I would recommend taking up certification as well with the respective cloud vendors. Maybe you can get certification in Google Cloud or Azure, that is MS Cloud, or AWS certified, or even Oracle. That will enhance your career prospect. So that's how you can learn on the cloud platform. Thank you.